It seems like more and more likely that we get some official news about Nio entering the US market, and some rumors are floating around about how this may look like. So the first one about this is today that Nio, and this is an exclusive by Eatsai, so Chinese local media, is actually planning to establish a factory in the US, and that would be obviously very big news. In some recent videos I've been covering that I think that this is the way to go for Nio, to establish factories in both the EU as well as in the US. In the EU, we have some news lately about possibly they are going to launch a factory in Hungary. And while this is so far, it seems only news around a battery swapping manufacturing facility and not yet around local automotive production. This news here relating to the US is actually more around a possible factory, because it seems like this news outlet here has discovered that they are hiring for somebody with more than 10 years in experience in planning and designing of factories in the area of automotive, and so this is pointing towards the possibility of Nio actually entering the US with a factory dedicated to producing vehicles locally. And that, of course, would have many benefits. One of them is, of course, around the area that there is a big move towards bringing back jobs to America, and also, especially as a Chinese manufacturer, it will be quite difficult with all of the tariffs, with all of the political nonsense going on between US and China to get a foothold in the US and sell to US consumers. But there are, of course, also benefits with a local production in terms of bringing the supply chains closer to the actually delivery points and things like that. So what I think is the essence here of this news is that, of course, it seems there is some activity. So I think it's very likely, yes, that this background work is going on here. I'm not quite sure if Nio would actually, go the way and establish their own factory. I still think that they might be working rather in a kind of a partnership modus, similar to how they are working in China already with JAC. So that's another company is actually running the factory, and they will be outsourcing it, but still Nio will bring in most of the planning, their own tooling, similarly as they are doing it in China, in order to make sure that the margins are up, that they have control about how the factory is being run. But I really doubt that they will actually invest their own resources in actually building the factories. And the fact is that there are more and more factories idle that can be used for such kind of resources to build it out and bring in their own equipment and then start producing cars basically with a supplier for them. There are even more hints hinting to this US market entry. One of it is that Scott Lifschultz has been hired as the head of US retail for Nio. And my sources, and by the way, if you're watching this, Mark, thanks for the head up, telling me that Nio is looking to establish more than 300 outlets in the US, possibly also looking to create Nio houses. This is what I think why they would be hiring a real estate advisor. And so bringing the whole ecosystem once again, similarly that we have seen in Norway. It seems like the Oslo Nio house and the experience with it has really proven that this model seems to be working and accepted even overseas, not only in China. And so now they are thinking of establishing new Nio houses even in Norway already. I think we also will see Nio houses in Germany, like Berlin and Munich. As far as I know, they are already under construction. And this is also a little bit in contrast to what we see around XPeng. Currently, there are rumors around that they're reshuffling their management because their overseas expansion is kind of stalling and a little bit on hold. So that's also why I'm always keep on saying that I think while the XPeng cars are great hardware and they're doing fine on the software, I do think they will have some difficulties going overseas in contrast to Nio, which I think has the better brand and also a kind of a better fit with the European customer in the US. But that doesn't mean that I don't think that XPeng can succeed overseas. But I think Nio really will be the case, the Chinese example of successful overseas expansion there. And so it seems, yeah, XPeng is kind of going slower here for now. But anyways, back to those US rumors. So yes, this Nio house expansion here seems to be a thing. And so it seems that Scott here will be driving these ambitions in the US. Furthermore, and another hint for the US market entry, and a very important one, I think, Nio is hiring a head of government relations. And yes, we know this is super important. Yesterday we had the very important speech by Blinken about US-China relations and what is the Biden policy towards China. I watched it in its entirety. I think it was a good speech. By the way, I would say go and watch it. And in general, I think it was a positive speech and takeaway. Although he was going hard in China as to be expected, still I think he opened the door to China in order to have ways of dealing with the US approach to China. And so I'd rather seen it as a positive development in the US-China relations. Possibly I'll make another video on that separately. But anyways, Nio has of course seen how important it is to manage the government relations between as a Chinese company and of course the US government, and it won't be easy for a Chinese brand to go to the US. They will be facing lots of headwinds, that's for sure. But Nio is also not new to the US. They have an established office in California since a while. I observed the same thing in Germany, that Nio has been doing lots of lobbying, lots of governmental relations, lots of industry relations. They have been active in various sessions on keynote speaking, on industry events, on governmental occasions where they have been, building their network and engaging with the most important stakeholders and partners. And so I expect they have done already the same in the US for quite some while, and now just continue to improve in doing that in order to make sure that Nio will not be booted out of the country there before it even starts. And so yes, these are very, very important hints on that Nio is really going that step, and I think we will soon see official announcements to that, and then a very more specific timeline. And I would expect usually that this will be within a 1-year range from the announcement to the actual happening after the market entry. And so this is very interesting because of course I think the prospects of Nio doing that are quite good. I think lots of consumers are actually waiting for Nio to enter the US markets and would love to buy the cars. And then it will of course be some interesting competition from China going to the US, and we'll see how well this can actually work out and how competitive Nio's value proposition will be in that regard. In some other news, I've ordered a couple of different smartwatches, like this Garmin watch here, that's the Venue 2, the Huawei Watch GT3, of course an Apple Watch here, as well as a Mi watch. So all of these gadgets I have of course ordered in order to benchmark it with my SEP GT3 Pro that I'm currently using. And I will give those watches away to one of my patrons, a couple of patrons. So these are in total around $1,000 worth of gadgets here that I will be giving away to some of our Patron supporters there after unboxing and using them and benchmarking it against my SEP Amazfit watch here, and of course letting you know the results. So if you want to be part of this and also want to consider winning one of these watches, then you can join our Patreon community. By the way, this is also a way of supporting the content that we are doing. And I'm actually looking to make a long post again. So that's for the $5 tier and every other Patreon tier member on the current market situation and what kind of dynamics I'm seeing and where I think the market is heading. So that will be a long read. And then, by the way, if you are a $10 supporter, then of course you can also join our Patreon community where we discuss content daily actually. And also if you are already Patreon member and you're not in the network yet, shoot me a message. I'll make sure to get you over into this Patreon community as well, which is a separate page. Meanwhile, also make sure to follow me on Twitter, where I also post more daily. And then thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next video.